Well, hello, everyone, and I hope everyone is having a great Saturday afternoon and weekend. This is Don Terrell with the Color of Motion. I want to welcome you to the show here. We interview people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that I love so well. And I'm excited about the show. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in. You can tune in and check us out live every Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Time. Live on my, I want to make sure I get this right. I always hit it wrong. Live on my Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn channel. You know the drill. I always make sure that broadcasting here on all my channels. I know I want to thank everybody that tuned in for the special broadcast Thursday. And I know I had issues Thursday with broadcasting to LinkedIn, but if you are tuning in from LinkedIn and Facebook, I do always kind of highly encourage everyone to jump over to my YouTube channel and subscribe. That way, and hit the bell notification so you will be notified of not only when the show goes live, but whenever I place and upload new content to my channel. So please go over to youtube.com / I always like doing that, / Don Terrell, and subscribe and hit the bell notification. Okay. Mr. Neil, I want to say good afternoon there, tuning in from New York City. I appreciate that as always. Again, make sure you say hello, where you're tuning in from, and let me know how it's going so far with you. Like I said, just want to make sure I am broadcasting on LinkedIn. Like I said, I know Thursday I had issues broadcasting to LinkedIn, so that is working properly. It looks like I am broadcasting on all my other channels. Again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in each and every Thursday. Each and every Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Time. And like I said, I always like to say the Color of Motion is where stories come in all shades. Like I said, I've been so looking forward to this interview. My friend and my man Wayne, we've been connected for a while. Checking out his work, and definitely going to be showing you some of his great work today. I wonder why this doesn't want to, well, and looking forward to just sitting down and having a good conversation with him for sure. Okay, it looks like we are live and in effect on all my channels here. Okay. Looks like we're going good. LinkedIn, Facebook. Okay. We are set. So I am excited to dive into this episode. Like I said, me and Wayne have been friends for a good like to say friends for a good little bit there. Like I said, and I'm looking forward to our long-lasting friendship there. So I've been excited to have him on the show for a while. All right. My next guest, he's been working in computer animation industry in Canada. He's in Toronto, Canada. Our family from across the border there for over 10 years and was trained generally in 3D computer animation, but now specializes as a 3D texture and surfacing artist. And we're going to dive into just exactly what that does, what that is, and what he does. He's worked on animated features and series such as The Nut Job, Trollhunters, if you watch that on Netflix, that was a good animation, and True, and The Rainbow Kingdom for Netflix, to name a few. Personally, he's been gearing up to illustrate his own children's book, which we're going to dive into that as well. Like I said, check out some of the artwork for that. So without further ado, I want to bring in my good friend, Mr. Wayne Carnegie. Oops. Mr. Wayne, Mr. Wayne. We
Hey,
always
everybody.
bring our in style.
Yeah, awesome. Glad to be here, and I'm happy to share my story with your audience, and hopefully I can inspire some kids somewhere out there
Yes,
with my story. Happy to be here.
definitely. And before we get rolling, I'm going to go ahead and roll Wayne's demo reel so you can see some of his work before we really dive into talking with him. He does some awesome work, and this is just a little taste of it. Some awesome work there, Wayne, for sure. So we're gonna dive into a lot of stuff here. So I'm just to kick it off. How did you kind of, as a child, were you always kind of artistically inclined and into, cartoons and comics or things like that?
Yeah, like growing up in Jamaica, in rural Jamaica, I've always been drawn to cartoons because where I grew up, we didn't have much, say, TV or whatnot, but we had newspaper, and my grandmother used to collect the newspaper cartoons, bring them home to me because I like looking at them, I like reading them, and I used to just try to trace them and whatnot, and try to make it look like what's in the comics, and that's how I first developed a love for it, and then as we made our way to the city, I discovered cartoons like the Spider-Man and the Batman, the Disney cartoon, the Pixar cartoons, and
Yeah.
um, Super Mario, the video game, and that's where all my love for it started, and how I, try to draw the Little Mermaid, for example. Try to draw that. As soon as I watch the movie, I want to like learn how to draw it, and every newspaper clipping I could find um, with cartoon on it. That's what motivated me into drawing. During school, it's the same thing. I usually like just look for heavily illustrated picture books and try to draw stuff out of it, and I enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So was your grandmother, like you said, your grandmother brought the comics and cartoons for you to to really kind of read and look at. Was
Yes.
she really influential in your path through this journey, or was your parents really a big part of it that kind of
Um,
motivated you go and inspired you to do it?
I live in a small community, and I live in a small community. I grew up in a small community, and everybody knew me in the community as the kid who likes to draw. And because I'm always doing that, and my grandmother would like, "Hey, Wayne is drawing. What is Wayne doing? Oh, Wayne is drawing Mickey Mouse today. He's at home just drawing Mickey Mouse. We're not taking him to the farm today. He's home drawing." And that kind of thing. And she also is a kind of a storyteller. She likes to tell, um,
Ah,
classic Anansi stories. I don't know if you heard of Anansi before, but she used to tell me Anansi stories, and as well as her own personal stories. And I used to like draw a character to them, and um, that's how her influence on me
yeah.
with art, you know,
So,
been.
as far as Jamaica and going through school, were there a lot of classes that kind of helped foster that? Going through like grade school and high school and stuff, were there a lot of, was the scene in Jamaica, the art scene, big enough that you got to learn and really progress your talents and stuff?
Okay, so I going to the high school now. I was introduced to fine arts, and it's totally different from cartoons and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But when I got into fine arts, I realized I couldn't really draw. I was drawing all along, but then when I went to the fine arts now, I learned about gesture, I learned about form, I learned about perspective, um, values, all that kind of stuff. So um, I would say my first class or first or second class in art class, it was provided by the school, and but I wasn't that strong. But as I got more serious and learning all these fundamentals,
Fundamentals, yeah.
I got better, and I became the guy at school I became the guy who could draw. Me
So,
and a couple of
when did animation kind of fall into the picture and you
okay,
start, okay, this is what I really like to do and would love to
it,
go further in?
okay. So while I'm doing that, I'm drawing a lot in high school, and I'm now and then a student will bring in a rarely computer graphics magazine to school. So I start skipping through it, and I will see computer animation, uh, Power Animator,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what is Power Animator? This is how they make the movies. One of my friends, they were like, this is how they make the movies. And I'm like, what? We can't do this in Jamaica though. And at that time, I researched, like for example, I was in high school, and then for the next step, I researched a couple schools in Jamaica, art school, and they were offering graphic design, graphics.
Yeah.
They weren't offering animation. So that's what I see during that time in high school. That's when I saw in those computer graphics magazine about computer animation and Pixar, how behind the scenes, and I'm like, I could use art and technology. I could put them together, and I could do this. This is what I want to do. And I was around 17, 18 at the time when I said, this is what I want to do. Um, Fast forward a little bit more, couple more years. I was lucky to migrate from Jamaica,
Yeah.
and that's when as soon as I landed on Canadian soil, I go immediately with all my credentials and my grades, um, and then apply to film school here in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
So that's when my journey began as doing the computer animation kind of
Gotcha.
that's how that happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how that happened.
So what made you choose Canada as opposed to, okay, let me just go to the United States where, like you said, Pixar and other studios were? What was the choice that made you move and decide on Canada?
Okay, I don't. I like for example, my stepdad, he lived in Canada. He's
Okay.
been living in Canada for a while. And while I was in Jamaica and getting information on where these animation schools are, like the Cal Arts,
Yeah.
the Art Institute of Miami, or
Yeah.
so forth, etc. I've always been researching those schools in the anticipation that said if I went to the States, or like the Full Sails, for example,
Yeah.
the Full
Yeah.
Sails.
Full sale.
Um, um, I've been looking at those, but unfortunately, I didn't end up going to America. So Canada was the next thing on the line. That's where my stepdad was,
Yeah.
and then he decided to sponsor all of us to come to Canada, and we moved in 2003. So that's how I end up in Canada. And when I end up in Canada and start researching the animation industry in Canada, I realized Canada had a very rich history with
Yeah.
Sheridan College,
Yeah.
Seneca College, Humber College over here at the time, Vancouver Film School. And though expensive, they were like pumping out brilliant students,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I end up in Canada.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. 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 Um, so what's been uh, kind of to this point uh, the biggest piece of advice that somebody's kind of given you so far that's kind of helped you or stuck with you?
Um, it all start back to going back to Jamaica. I had an art teacher at the same high school. There is San Diego High School in Jamaica. If anybody from San Diego watching, hello. I had an art teacher where he saw that I was doing the fine art stuff, but
Yeah.
I was also making these comic strips and stuff like that. And he pat me on the shoulder. I don't think he was he was the head of the art program. He wasn't my art teacher specifically, really,
Yeah.
but he was the head of the art program in the schools. And he saw me in the room because I'm always in the art room. And he saw me and said, kid, you know what? You could go into graphics. That's all he knows. You could go into animation, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, just continue what you're doing, just learn the fundamentals, and hopefully God will open up a way for you and you could do the animation.
Yeah.
He said, right now, kid, it's not in Jamaica really, but hopefully something open up for you. But these are what he's looking at my work and he's like, these are brilliant, these
Yeah.
are really good.
Yeah.
And
I think that's always very important, is to have a cheerleader or somebody
yeah.
that really kind of believes in your skill and talent
Mhm.
and encourages you to
Yeah.
continue and pursue it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was fortunate enough to have several people, some instructors, counselors,
Hmm.
my mother, just
Hmm.
really encourage, um, your talent, know that you have your talent, and just
Hmm.
continue to encourage it along the way, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah.
lot of different things in animation, and of course, you started general, as a general animator.
Yeah.
Was there one thing? I mean, obviously, you transitioned into specializing as a texture artist. Did you not like modeling or animating
Hmm.
specifically, or?
Okay. That's a very good question. Very good question. Okay. So I started as, in animation school, they teach you general stuff.
Yeah.
That means you're gonna learn how to animate, you're gonna learn how to rig, you're gonna learn how to light, model, texture, and
Yeah.
compositing.
Yeah.
And so I learned all that. But I, at some point, a few years after graduating, I did a okay demo reel. A few years after graduating, I realized that my strongest point would be modeling and texture and shading because of my art background. I'm strong with those
Yeah.
um, areas. So My first industry job, I started out as a model, texture artist, and rigger. I was the OKA rigger,
Yeah.
and that's how I started out, and it was good. Um, but then in 2012, when I worked on the nut job, that's when I started working as a surfacing artist. And from then on, I never looked back. I never looked back. I loved it. I loved doing the shader work. I loved it doing the UV unwrap of the model. I love just getting like um, I love getting the art reference and try to match it with the shading, with
Yeah.
my shading, and that's what I've been doing
Yeah.
ever since. That's how I transitioned into specializing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that always kind of got me. UV unwrapping an object
Yes.
and then texturing it.
Yes.
So was always thought, it was an interesting process, but
Yeah.
I don't know, when you have a complex object or a complex model and you see all those little islands of
Hmm.
unwrap it, it's like, okay, I don't know if this
Yeah.
is something that I want to do. And that's the interesting thing.
Hmm.
Um, People find out as they get into the industry
Hmm.
that they may start out as a general and animator or
Yeah.
in a general role, but as
Yes.
they go down they find this one thing that they really like and
Hmm.
really enjoy doing and are good at.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest challenge for you going as you've gone along?
Um, couple of the biggest challenge that I've gotten, even as I became a senior in this in the role, and um, software has evolved in
Mm,
terms of like you might use a specific software at one studio and you might not use that software again for you might every studio you go might be a different
yeah,
setup. So I struggled. I was telling you I'll tell you the production I was working on because it's out. I was working on the latest SpongeBob movie.
yeah,
SpongeBob's Sponge on the Water or something like that. I forgot.
yeah,
Yeah, the latest one. Um, and those guys have a different pipeline. Um, they have a. I don't know if you heard of Katana.
yeah. Katana, yeah,
Katana. They have a lighting setup. Even though they brought me basically the studio brought me in as a senior,
yeah,
and there were months already in production. They were training, so they were very busy. They were at the busy end of the production, and
yeah.
they just brought me in, threw me in, threw
See,
me in, and the training that they provide was really sloppy because the training is basically a guy came to my desk and just said, "Do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that," and yeah,
have you
that's the
figured
training.
it out?
So I was like, wait a minute, how am I gonna do this thing? And they had a specific way. We were using Mari at the time.
Okay, Mari, yeah.
Mari, I was using Mari to texture paint. So and Mari has a few ways how to texture paint something. It has the layer system, which is like in Photoshop you have
Yeah,
your layers and everything, and it also has a node base.
nowadays, yeah,
A node base. So the node base is what everybody is doing right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't like so much nodes pointing each to each other. This is this.
That is a hard. It is a kind of a different mindset for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
And if I don't know which node to call to do certain things, I just
yeah,
don't know. I'm just like maybe I'm too old school.
yeah. No, I get you because, like I said, I use uh, Lightwave and Moto, and
Mm,
Moto is it works both ways too. It's got a layer system where you
mm-hmm,
can layer on different shaders and stuff, but it
mm-hmm,
also is really big on the node. And that was always something that got me, even like I said, just procedural, plugging in this procedural to get this effect. And it takes a different mindset for sure to really get it. Is there, so which software do you kind of prefer or like to work in?
Right now, I'm enjoying Substance Painter as a 3D texturing package. I'm enjoying that, and I'm trying to learn Substance Designer, which it's kind of its cousin. It's kind of like Substance Designer's cousin, kind. And that one is node based too. But you could create all the procedural texture in that program. I'm still trying to learn it.
Substance Painter is really becoming popular. I mean, because it's a popular and powerful program for really texturing right on a 3D model as well.
Yeah, so Substance Painter has been my go-to right now for texturing and stuff like that, and I prefer it. I prefer that.
Gotcha.
I prefer that right now. Even the project that I'm working on right now, I'm using a Substance Painter and Unreal Engine.
Unreal.
So I'm diving in. Even though I'm from the film and animation side, I welcome this opportunity to learn a game engine too. So that's the next. I think that's the next step of all things are going to be going.
Unreal is really powerful. So has that been, like I said, since you are just getting into using a game real engine game engine, has that been a big thing to wrap your head around as well, just learning Unreal?
It's been, but the studio that I'm with, like Real Effects, has been really good. They provide lots of training. You get what I'm saying? Training on top of training. And even on top of the training, you could still ask questions. Nobody's gonna look at you funny because we are on the project. We're all learning. So that's a privilege that I have at this company right now.
So are you working in studio or are you working remotely?
I'm working remotely. Yeah.
Is that a challenge in and of itself, working on a project of that the scale of most studios have, and coordinating with a lot of different people? Is that a challenge for you?
No, I actually like it. As long as the the IT is up, like all the remote desktop software is up to date. Teradici, for example, is a software that we use to remote into the studio and everything, and it's been good. Support from IT it's been good. It's been wonderful. So with all that, it's not been too much of a challenge. It's just that I wake up in the morning, I refreshing up, then get my tea. If I'm doing my tea thing, I just do my tea thing, and I just launch up my computer and I jump right into work. Or
I know how fun it is working alongside. I mean, I would guess most animators or creatives would prefer working kind of in that collaborative where you're right there and you can walk over and ask somebody, hey, how you do this, or see somebody else's work. I would guess most miss that personal kind of interaction.
I do miss the interaction like that too. I do miss it. But like what we do to compensate for that a little bit at work here, like we're doing the chat thing, the chat, say, hey, how you doing? Especially if I'm talking to my lead, I'm like, hey, check this out, what I did. What do you, any quick feedback? And they're like, maybe tweak the color a little bit. So it's kind of like interactive that way instead of like, if we're in studio, I would have to call her over to my desk and say, hey, check this out. And, all that kind of stuff. But with working from home, she could just click on the image and look at it right there and give feedback quickly. Draw over it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's been it's been very it's been
This,
very good like that. So and it's been very good for me, like working from home. I really like it. I really like the vibe. I'm home.
yeah,
you know,
much more
I
comfortable environment for sure.
yeah, I don't really miss the commute. Going downtown Toronto
Yeah.
every day. You know, I don't really miss the commute, so I'm happy.
Oh man, too funny. And if you're just tuning in, I'm sitting down here having a great conversation with my good friend, Mr. Wayne Carnegie, senior surfacing artist with Real Effects here. Miss Elizabeth, appreciate you as always tuning in. Interesting. She's a future guest on this show. So I'm looking forward to that. You said a moment ago, Real Effects is really good about training.
Mhm.
Is that the has that been the experience with most companies, or was it kind of the other experience where they just threw you in and you just had to swim? You know?
I've been at places where they just throw you in and then you have to swim. And for example, when I don't know if you know Arnold Renderer,
Yeah.
when Arnold first came out and we were using it at a project, uh, all of a sudden we signed up for this show to sign on up to work on the show. And they were like, "What rendering software are you using?" They're like, "No, we're not using Mental Ray, by the way. We're using we're using Arnold today." So, and I'm like, "What? Where? How the shit is?" And there was no tutorial online for Arnold. Um, there was no tutorial. We didn't know how this thing worked. And we had to just sit there and plug in our textures and figure out if stuff look like metal. Does it
Yeah.
look like plastic? Does this look like cloth? And
Oh man.
stuff like that. So we had to figure it out while delivering the project. But I over the years I've been at studios where since I started working from home, um, I've last year I'd been doing a lot of freelancing last year, same surfacing,
Yeah.
but I've been doing freelancing. So when I was doing the freelancing, I've been with a studio where they provide video of how to set up your files, how to export your file, how to save your textures, what to call them, how to hook up your textures, and all that kind of stuff. How to, videos how to shoot for everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was like a smooth transition. I was able to just like jump on the project and just hit the ground and running. And because those videos, I could wake up in the middle of the night and say, "Okay, I forgot something. Let me check the video." Boom, I'm done. And so that was a good experience in terms, yeah.
Gotcha. So are you obviously you're working for Real Effects, which has a location in Canada,
Hmm.
but they have a location, and we were just talking about this earlier. I
Yep.
do them from they have a location in Dallas, and
Hmm.
another one in California. Are you looking to eventually kind of migrate to California, or are you happy doing remote work from, you don't necessarily have to be at studios nowadays, and
Yeah.
especially with what's going on or had been going on with COVID, a lot of
Mhm.
companies now are more familiar with
Yeah.
and comfortable with working remotely.
Yeah. I would love to, if I get the Disney call, if I get the Disney feature animation, I would love to work for them.
Gotcha.
That's like if I work for them, I'll be like, "Oh,"
Hearing the
and then
angels open up.
yeah, I'll just like pack my bags and just like pack my suitcase and on my way to California.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh man.
if I get that Disney call, but
Oh.
uh,
It's
you
funny.
know,
Most people say Pixar. It's Pixar, Disney. So
yeah,
see,
Disney. I'm cool with Disney.
okay.
But I have to figure out this node base and katana shading thing.
Yeah.
I have to figure it out. So I'm gonna give myself the rest of this year to learn that um, technique. Also, for example, I'll give you another surprise. My computer animation reel can't be used for visual effects.
Yeah.
No,
So
it can't be
just
used. I've tried it before, and they're like, "Dude, we don't do cartoons here. We don't do cartoons, man." And I'm like, "But it's the same software I'm using." They're like, "No,
oh,
we
no, they want to see what they actually produce. We do visual effects, so we want to see
yeah
the texturing as it relates to that.
to that." Yes, they wanted to say they're like, do you have a realistic work anywhere on your computer? I'm like, "No." They're like, "Sorry,
Oh
sorry,
man, yeah,
we don't do cartoons here."
yeah, and that's something that I learned early that you tailor your reel to the studio and the type of work that they put out. So if you're a
Yes.
character animator and you're applying for like a modeler type of thing, they want to see models and they want to see how you can model and that sort of thing. If all they do is like Pixar style animation, they don't want to see like realistic humans and things like that. They want to see that you're able to produce the work in their style of
Mhm.
in their style for sure.
Yep. 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 So yeah, that's an interesting story. I just wanted to share.
Well, is that
Getting
something that you're interested in kind of
um
into doing surfacing for visual effects style work?
um yeah, I would like to do it. But again, I would have to learn a couple. There's a couple more things in my armor I need to
Yeah,
iron out, so to speak. Which is that node-based Mari, because they use Substance Painter in visual effects, yes, but they prefer Mari
yeah,
because it's the high resolution texture that they want and
yeah,
all that kind of stuff. So, and they, you know, most of the studios that I heard, this is what I heard. I've never been there, but that is what I heard. They use Katana and
yeah,
all that kind of stuff. So, even though like they have stuff explaining the pipeline, I would have to learn how to do the node-based stuff for real, for real.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the like I say, learning the software and of the industry is always the thing. And that was something that I kind of knew, okay, if I really want to, get into doing animate character animation at a lot of these studios, of course, Maya is the big dog that most
Mhm.
studios use, although a lot of them have proprietary stuff too, but it's
Yep.
still kind of based around Maya work. So yeah, it's always a challenge kind of, and there's so many different softwares coming out all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
It feels like you're behind trying to keep up your
Hmm.
skill set learning it.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah. It's basically that's all. That's what basically all it is. You have to be constantly, learning new ways and learning new things. And even though I'm a senior in my area, I learned in order to. I must evolve. I must
Yeah,
evolve. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
must evolve.
yeah.
Yeah.
So do you still pull from your traditional style of art to kind of help inspire you and like keep you learning?
Yeah. When I'm not doing surfacing for film, like texture painting for animation, I just like, because I have a daughter now and everything, and I just like emerge, like put myself in uh back to the children's book illustration kind of world. I develop a style for myself. I could draw and paint realistically, but I kind of just over the years I kind of just move away from that and just
Yeah,
go be more childlike.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
for that, because I have a daughter and I would like to tell her stories, or have books out there telling similar kids, with
yeah,
a style that I recently developed with Sketchbook Pro,
yeah, yeah,
Sketchbook, Autodesk Sketchbook. So that's what I do. That's what I mean drawing from outside of like working in animation. As soon as I go home or as soon as I sign out for the day, I sign into my world,
yeah.
my real world, which is looking at those children's book animation and
Yeah,
just being obsessed
yeah.
how this thing is done, you know. Because as you can see, a lot of these children's books are getting picked up by Netflix.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you know,
I've connected with a lot of people from Netflix so far, and Netflix, to their credit, as you can see, some of his great work here, Wayne's great work here. Netflix, I will say, is really doubling down and leaning into putting out animation and specifically kids animation for sure. So I always give Netflix a lot of kudos. They're real
yeah,
and on the live action stuff. They're just big on original content. So
original content. Yeah,
they're craving for just original stories, whether it be traditional film or animation. So I like the fact that it's really opening up a lot of doors
yeah, it
for a
is.
lot of content creators,
Mhm.
for sure. And actually trying to, and Frank, if you're listening, or Frank Abney, if you're listening, or happy to catch the show, definitely trying to get you on as a guest. But he's another example of how
Mhm.
Netflix just kind of backed his animation that he was working on and really put it out there and really starting to let him soar with his kind of work.
Mhm.
So is that your ultimate goal, is to start putting out, eventually end up putting out your own content and own stories and things like that?
Yeah, yeah. I would like to have that going alongside the animation thing, and eventually, hopefully, that could I could somehow get lucky and become successful in that area where I just like 100% switch um my time over to become a creator and
Yeah,
so I have to like plant the seed, so to speak,
yeah.
and in order to realize that in the future, so
Yeah.
I'm doing it now.
No, I
um,
think that's
yeah.
a great plan. And I think now is such a great time for content. I always say it is such a
Hmm.
great time for
Hmm.
content creators,
Yeah.
because one, there's a lot of avenues to put out your own content, be it YouTube or all
Hmm.
these other platforms to put out your own content. And two, a lot of studios now are just like Netflix, are just
Hmm.
really hungry for original
Yes.
content. Uh,
And yeah, for real, and especially like I see Netflix investing heavily in diversity.
yeah,
uh
yeah,
it's just I'm just like, you guys are awesome, man. Like whatever you do in Netflix, continue doing it.
yeah,
This is how you keep your audience.
yeah, definitely. And
This is how you do it.
we're gonna dive a little deeper
Hmm.
into talking about one, your book project and more of your children's story, and two, just the need for more diverse characters out there, and
Hmm.
studios kind of leaning into it. But
Hmm.
before we jump into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break from and highlight one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Nice.
Well, hello, everybody. We are back, and if you're just tuning in, we are sitting down and having a great conversation with my friend, Mr. Wayne Carnegie, senior servicing artist with Real Effects. And we kind of ended on talking about your book and more diverse content. And I'm going to quickly show, because this was, like I said, uh, a really good process, shows you a really good process of
Yep.
how you go about creating the cover and the artwork for your book that's coming
Hmm.
out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to
All right.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, you said you had a daughter, a little
Yes.
girl and a daughter. Why is it important for you to really start seeing and creating characters more diverse out there for you?
It's very important because, like, when I was growing up again, like, I didn't see, um, I wasn't exposed to like books that had diverse characters or whatnot. So that's been my lifelong journey to, I think things are changing now, and a lot of that's happening. For example, if you see like the Here Love, the short story, the short film Here Love,
Yeah, hair love.
that won the Oscar, and I see Netflix and other platforms doing a lot of diverse content, and I just thought um, I would shed a light on that too. Brings forefront some of my, not only my culture,
Yeah.
like my Jamaican culture, Caribbean culture, the African, Afro Jamaican
Yeah.
culture, like the Anansi stories, and um, just share it with the world and say, hey, this is how we tell a story, and we'd like you to enjoy it
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
our perspective and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's been very important. That's what I'm banking on right now. With my daughter, drawing inspiration from her and creating something that she would like, and she would like, hey. So I showed her the characters. She's like, Daddy, that's me. I'm like, yeah. So, um,
Oh man, I think that's
so
what it's all about. Yeah.
yeah, so getting that, it just gives me a good vibe, and and when it comes to like creating diversity, like I try to include every race, every culture
Yeah.
as much in my illustrations, just right across the board. Even kids with disability, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just put their character out there, and let them, because those kind of kids are out there in the world right now,
Right.
or kids or grown-ups, they're out there.
Yeah.
So I just want to, like, help to bring voice to those diverse voice to those
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah.
It's very important. It's very important to me. Yeah.
And I think, like you mentioned before, a lot of studios now, I've seen so many and watched so many diverse stories out there. Like I said, Raya, the last one I just watched, which is really good, uh,
Hmm.
Raya and the Last Dragon, uh,
Hmm.
which is kind of based around um, Asian American characters
Hmm.
and the stories. And then I saw, I'm trying to get him on the show too, Bobby Rubio, just done a
Hmm.
short with Pixar
Hmm.
about him and his son that has autism, and he's
Hmm.
Filipino. So there's a lot of there are a lot of studios that are starting to really uh,
Hmm.
embrace letting more diverse cultures tell their story from their
Yeah.
perspective
Yeah.
and bring a more authentic uh,
Yeah.
voice to it.
Yeah. For example, you see Soul. Soul was pretty
So
good.
yeah, yeah,
It was pretty good.
yeah.
I
So,
like that.
so I'm encouraged now.
Mm.
Like I said, it's a little unfortunate that I think all the social rest kind of started to spark it and spark these studios now to really step up and do it. But I am encouraged now that I
Mm.
think a lot more content creators are
Hmm.
really starting to show their content and their stories. Um, Africa, and like you said,
Hmm.
African American. There's a lot of the animation scene in over
Hmm.
Africa is really now starting to grow
Yes.
and boom,
Yes.
and they're starting to infuse those African stories and
Yes.
mythological stories in
Hmm.
animation. So I'm
Hmm.
excited about a lot of them.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm friends with a lot of animators from Nigeria
Yeah,
on my Facebook page, and I see them post some brilliant stuff, some cute little culture centered, based on their culture, and I'm
oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
thumbs up, guys,
It's it's
good.
it's definitely time.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure if he's a real big animator here, LaShawn Thomas.
Yeah, yeah, I've been following
Yeah,
him
LaShawn
on.
Thomas, and he's getting ready. Netflix is getting ready to put
Mhm.
his movie out, which is based on the only African that was a samurai or
Yes.
went over to Japan to become a samurai. And
Hmm.
so that looks really exciting. And that looks like it's going to be a really nice animated film.
Yeah, I think I saw clips of it. I was reading up on it a little bit. I saw a little clip of it.
Yeah.
Looks good, and that's epic, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Yeah.
And that's the beauty. Like I said, I think that's the beauty of just diversity, because there are so many interesting stories and mythological backgrounds, or even uh, um, real background stories of characters and people that can be brought to life in such a
Mhm.
engaging way. So I am excited about it.
Mhm.
So what do you feel like studios could even do more? I mean, it's do you feel like it's going to take not just people on the ground level, but people in the executive levels to really start to see a real big explosion, even more?
Um,
Because
right now,
we're seeing the creators and we're seeing the
yeah.
artists do it,
Hmm.
but having those ones that are making the decisions that
Hmm.
ultimately greenlight these projects, do you think it's
Hmm.
going to take more and more of us being in those type of roles?
Yes, yes, definitely. In those kind of roles, definitely would take that would help. That would help definitely. In those, people in if more of us in are in those kind of roles to help to push out what's going on. But I said, like, from I was a kid until now, it's been a big change. So
Yeah,
it could only get better.
yeah,
Could only get better. So I'm
definitely.
optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I am
Uh,
too. I mean, I am too. I know that, like I said, especially in this time, you don't necessarily have to, because of all the platforms that are out there, you don't necessarily have to wait until you get to Disney or
mhm.
Pixar to put your content out,
Yes.
because there are channels like I said,
Mhm.
YouTube or Facebook or TikTok
Mhm.
or Instagram that really, you know, can highlight your story and career to
Yeah.
the point where those studios are starting to look on the website just like we are.
Yeah.
Scour the website for content and
Yeah.
creators now.
Yeah. And also, I'm very impressed with like independent black uh producers. I like, for example, I've been following these guys for a while.
Yeah,
The guys that create, I don't know if you know those guys that create Black Sands.
like Sands.
Black Sand, a comic. They have a comic that I think he was funded. There's a kick. I'm trying to remember. There's a Kickstarter of his project, and
Mm,
it got it. I think it got over 1 million. I don't want to. I don't know if I'm accurate, but I think it got over 1 million in funded.
mm,
And so like the indie comic guys,
yeah,
like I'm very happy for them, and
yeah,
seeing they're taking the initiative in their hand, and they have a community to back them and
yeah,
got whatever they're doing published.
yeah.
It looks amazing,
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
that
So,
like I said, that's the beauty of this time, where if you got an idea and you got a something that you want to put out, you can fund it through Kickstarter, and as long as
yes.
you build a community around it, people are going to support it and really put it out there. Mr. Black Sands, Narita Nesbitt,
Mhm.
Black Sands, we'll check it out for sure. We
Mhm.
appreciate you tuning in. As always, if you're tuning in, it's Don Terrell with my great friend here, um, Mr. Wayne Carnegie, and we're sitting here talking about just his work, uh, creativity, diversity in the industry, and everything. And I think now, I think another good thing is, and thing I'm really hopeful about is a lot of more influential blacks and diverse people that are
Mhm.
in the industry, say like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler
Mhm.
Perry, really put the funds and the money behind helping other creative content
Mhm.
people put their projects out. So I
Mhm.
think there's a base for us
Mhm.
that is there that we could really, like I said, put out our own
Mhm.
content and
Mhm.
own our own content and create our own content.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Mhm.
So I really, um, obviously from your work, you do a lot of children's type of
Mhm.
animation. You
Yes.
just said that you got a daughter and you want to create stories for her. Is
Yeah.
that kind of the space that like I said, that your lane that you want to kind of stay in? Or do you enjoy the more cerebral adult? I love anime myself. My spectrum of anime, love for animation is really wide. I love Pixar,
Yeah.
but I love anime as well. And
Yes, I do. I do. Like even though I even though, like, for example, I want to create
yeah,
my own thing. I have big influence from the anime industry. Like, for example, the Hayao Miyazaki,
oh man,
the Studio Ghibli people, how they tell their stories, how they paint their background, even the style. If you look on their film, it's a Ghibli film.
yeah,
And I'm, from I watched Princess Mononoke, I've been blown away. I mean, other than outside that, I was a big fan of the Dragon Ball Z, the
yeah,
Sailor Moons, the Ninja Scroll.
yeah,
You have like Ghost in the Shell,
yeah,
um,
yeah. Got all of
uh,
those there.
all those guys. I've been watching. I've been like, I like how other culture been doing this creative thing, and been doing this animation thing, storytelling.
Yeah,
So it's just such a broad field to draw from, and you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
um,
It really is.
be inspired.
Yeah, it really
Uh,
is.
yeah,
Um,
and I'm also blown away with how LeSean Thomas, like, he left America and he
yeah,
went
he
over
he immersed
there
himself. Yeah, yeah,
and do his thing, and
yeah,
that's just huge, man. That's like, yeah, his story is really inspiring.
yeah,
And there's a lot of um African American, or black
yeah.
animators or creatives who, you got the Jamal Bradley. I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
saying his name
Jamal
correct.
Bradley. Yeah, Jamal.
They're doing really good things.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a
He's
there's a
got an interesting one coming out too. Yeah,
Yes, there's one, Canvas
yeah.
Canvas
That's Frank
by
Abney. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Frank Abney
Yes,
work.
yes.
Yeah,
So
so
so like, I've seen those, and every time I see those pop up, I'm like, that's awesome, bro. That's
awesome,
awesome.
awesome.
Inspired. I feel inspired. I feel
Yeah.
like I want to just like sit in my room all day and just create my own thing. Or
I definitely get you, which is why I love doing this show, because it's enabled me to really one, connect with so many like I said, talented creatives such as yourself, such as, I don't know if you've seen Joshua Leonard's work.
Joshua
um,
Leonard. Yes, 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 yes. That guy. I love
he,
that guy.
he was my first guest. Thank you, Joshua, for being my first guest. But
Yeah.
he's doing awesome stuff, and I'm fully expecting Netflix to put that out as a series, because he does work with Netflix.
With Netflix,
Uh,
yeah. I like his journey.
yeah,
Based on what I've seen so far, I love his journey, and he just has like a way how he carries himself, and like, champion diversity, and his character design is, in Jamaica we said his character design is wicked, man, wicked.
wicked
Yeah,
one, wicked one. Yeah,
yeah,
does
yeah,
great work. Joshua
yeah.
Upshaw, another super talented character designer that I had
Mhm.
on. He works uh, for a studio in, and I don't know if you've ever seen Archer, the animated series Archer.
Archer,
It was a 2D.
probably.
Yeah, it was a kind of a parody
Hmm.
of almost like James Bond type of parody
Hmm.
animated feature, but uh, really,
Hmm.
I don't want to say sarcastic kind of
Yeah.
humor, but it's just that kind of uh,
Hmm.
parody kind of humor. But that ran on Fox, and I think it's still running. But super talented. He works for the studio that produced
Hmm.
that. So it's just a lot of, like I said, I've had the privilege and honor of connecting with a lot of great, talented
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
that are putting out great content. And for those of you that don't know what LaShawn Thomas, who we were just talking about, is he's an animator that was here. He's from the States here, but he moved to Japan to immerse himself in anime style animation and learn directly from them the style of animation. And he's got such a great fusion of anime and uh, his culture and characters that he's just made such a great fusion of the two. Definitely working to try and get him on the show for sure. But like I said, I'm just excited about all the different content that's coming out now by all the different creators, and like you said, it fuels you to want to get into your own
Yeah.
little space
Yeah.
to create.
hmm Yep.
Mr. Rita, I am a teacher of animation. Oh wow, that's interesting. Animation from Jamaica, and I would love my students to follow you. Um,
Nice. Awesome.
oh,
Hey, Narita.
definitely follow Mr. Wayne Carnegie. Let me throw
Yeah.
the. I usually do this towards the end, but I'm going to throw it up here now. You can definitely check out his work on Instagram at Drawtist018. And all of these links will be in the show notes on my YouTube channel. Make sure that Nesri, make sure that you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, check out not only Wayne, but I have a lot of great people that are on the show that your students would really benefit
Yes.
from listening to.
Yes. Trust me. Yeah.
Check out all the episodes on there. And would love to have you and all your other students follow the show, because this is the main reason I created this show, was because, like you, Wayne, when I was younger, I wanted to be a cartoonist in comics. I didn't see anybody really
No. No,
doing
I
it.
didn't see
I
it. Yeah.
definitely didn't see any characters in the newspaper that I loved. My favorite, and he was the one that got me inspired, was Peanuts. I loved Charles Schultz, and I love Peanuts.
Yes.
Anything Peanuts and Charles Schultz, I was there. But it definitely would have been much more impactful had I seen characters and creators that look like me. You're starting to see them now. Excuse me. You're starting to see them more now, but
More now. Yes.
now, like I said, it really helps to, and I know how inspiring that is for kids to see that.
It is. It is. It is. Yeah. Because like if I remember if like even when I was doing animation in college, and I heard of LaShawn Thomas and the guy who created Boondocks and all that.
Yeah,
I started reading up on those guys religiously, man. I'm like, hey, let's see what Sean Thomas is doing, or let's see what all these guys are doing, and it's just a good feeling and a good motivator to say if they can do it, I can do it. I just gotta keep on going, and I along my journey too, I also have people who would say don't do art.
Oh yeah, you're always going to get those few that, like I said, don't do it, or
Yes.
that's not the route to go down. Or,
Yeah. Is there money in it?
Yeah, isn't money in there? And I would challenge everybody that it's not about the money. The money will come if you're doing.
It will come. Yeah.
If you're doing what you love to do,
Mhm.
and you have a passion for doing. And I have the utmost respect for people that push past all the negative naysayers and put their content and create their vision and get it out there. And it does become successful, like you said, like the creator of Boondocks and LaShawn and so many other creators that are putting their content out there. And now there's no excuse not to. In this day and age, there's really no excuse, because like I said, you can get you an Instagram page, you can get your YouTube channel and put your content out there.
Yes.
And as it gets good,
As it gets good, people will
build
follow it.
Build it, they will come.
They will come. Trust me. I was even like, when I had my daughter, like I was even watching like those nursery rhyme channels, and I'm like, these are all animation, and these guys have millions of views.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, This
yeah,
is awesome.
yeah.
You know.
And for me, like I said, it was a really it clicked with me that it's a really animation and cartoons was just a really for me powerful way to learn.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you maybe have seen it or anything like that, but when I was young,
Hmm.
and I used to just love Saturday morning cartoons. They
Yes.
would have in between the Saturday morning cartoons this little animated short called Schoolhouse Rock,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
they taught like English, and they put it to music. So you would
Yeah.
teach like what is a law, or I'm just a
Hmm.
bill, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol, and you learn stuff that you wouldn't necessarily catch in school,
Yeah.
but they
Hmm.
put it to cartoons and they put it to music, and it just
Music. Yeah.
and really stuck with you. So I know
Yeah.
how powerful a medium that is for kids,
Hmm. Yeah.
gauging medium that is for kids to
Hmm.
really get it. There's Narita. Again, I would love to introduce you to the that sounds familiar. We Animate Jamaica group for teens. It seems like I read about that somewhere before, and I'm not sure
Cool.
if you're. I'm assuming she's directing this to you, Wayne, or
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
would definitely love to hear more about it, Narita. And
Yeah.
definitely, if there's anything that
Hmm.
I'm able to do, for sure,
Yeah.
love to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But I
I,
know that that's a big thing. They're starting
yeah.
to really introduce animation into Jamaica and a
Yeah.
lot of the
Yeah. I'm also teaching part time from Canada with a school in Jamaica too.
okay,
The Edna Manley College of Art um in performing arts, visual
yeah,
and performing
yeah,
arts. I've been teaching with them since January, so it's been good. So I've kind of started giving back, so to speak,
yeah,
to students in Jamaica who want to pursue animation and stuff like
yeah,
that. With
yeah.
with my with my experience of I've been teaching a few classes in Jamaica
Yeah.
recently.
And that's
Yeah.
another, and you bring up another point with that. Is
Yeah.
that, I mean, is that another key element that I think will make it grow even more is really exposing kids in uh, places that normally don't, or even schools. We have
Hmm.
schools here that, like I said, I would say if more professionals went back to these underserved schools or schools that just
Hmm.
really don't have access or really know about this,
Hmm.
encouraging more students to really get into the industry, or that it's even possible to do
Hmm.
that. Do you
Hmm.
think that's a big thing that will also help?
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's what also help because, since I started teaching at the school, even before I start teaching, I usually join like Facebook group. I join like African American animator group on Facebook. I'm in there. I draw the Black Artists Connect group on Facebook. I'm in there sharing information and just reaching out and just interacting whenever I can, whenever I'm not busy.
Yeah,
I'm just there spreading the animation gospel,
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
Now,
so I've been doing that. But yeah, like I think, like me, like for example, my experience teaching in Jamaica, the animation, the kids are very happy,
yeah,
happy to have somebody who's in the industry, who's worked on a number of films and whatnot, teaching them his way,
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's been a good experience.
yeah.
Um, you know, children's, like I talked to, I think I was talking to one of the students yesterday. I was like, "Hey, how are you guys liking the class so far?" They're like, "It's always a pleasure," and I'm like, "It's good, man. It's good."
Well, like I said, I think there's nothing more powerful
Hmm.
than somebody that looks like you, is from your background, is
Hmm.
from, shares your experiences, that is showing you something that you're interested in doing and that they're doing it, and it's possible for you.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's very, very, a very, very powerful thing in images. Um, So, do you ever, like I said, I definitely want to be respectful. We're going well over an hour here, so this is going
Mhm.
to be another one of these great shows for sure. But do you ever, how do you deal with like imposter syndrome or that type of thing? Even going into studios, like you said, where you're just thrown in and not really,
Mhm.
brought up to speed on things. Do you still
Yeah.
deal with that or?
I do honestly, I do deal with that because, like, especially the studio that as I said, I think I had two experience where they just throw me in, and they're like, because I came in with the title as a senior artist, and they throw me in, and I'm like, and they expect me to learn everything just by sitting me down and showing me a few tools and say, "Go ahead, Wayne. You're a senior artist. You can figure it out." You know, um, no, I couldn't figure it out, and I struggled. I struggled really bad, and it made me question myself. I'm like, um, yeah, I just never saw that coming, and I didn't really stay at those studio. I don't even have those studios on my resume or my LinkedIn. Just because of those experience and whatnot. But as I said, as an artist, I should evolve. I should learn, and that's what I that's what I do to battle that. I never want to feel like that again. You
Yeah.
know.
So you just
Um.
constantly updating your skills and keeping your
Yes.
skills sharp.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Hmm.
Um, Again, everybody, this has been like I said, a fun, awesome experience sitting down with my friend Wayne, and definitely, I always. The good thing about it is I always am able to have my guests and friends back on the show and look
Hmm.
forward to it for sure, especially as they move around to different projects and what they're working on.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
for sure. Let me throw in some comments here. Miss Narita, yes, that's common. I'm assuming she was talking about maybe imposter syndrome, that type of thing. Maybe you can elaborate, Miss Narita. That's my alma mater.
Oh, she's talking about Edna Manley. That's
Yeah,
the college. Yeah.
okay.
Big
I,
up, Narita.
I there are students from 12 or 14 parishes in the country for sure. And this has been, like I said, uh, a great conversation, a
Yeah.
really deep conversation on just the
Yeah.
power of, like I said, bringing one, paying it forward and giving back of your
Hmm.
skills and your talents and really inspiring the younger generation to do it.
Hmm.
One kind of last question
Hmm.
before we kind of close it out. If you were able to go back in time and stand in front of your younger self,
Hmm.
what would be the one thing that you would tell your younger self?
Like one thing that I would tell my younger self, just keep drawing. Um, you know, I wouldn't change anything. I just like how things transition. From then until now, I just kept following my dreams, drawing, just being me, and nobody, not too many people were in my way to discourage me and tell me not. I met a lot of those people, but
Yeah.
and not too much. I didn't listen to too much of them. So it was basically, you ever go to horse racing and you see the horses in
Yeah.
blinkers?
Yeah. With the blinders on, they don't
Yep.
the
So
rap,
yeah, I just basically had that on, um,
run your
and
race. Yeah.
then stay in my lane, and
run,
um, you
run
know,
your race.
and just continue to where I'm at right now. And it's been good. It's been amazing. It's a good feeling knowing that you're working. One of my biggest thing is like when the movie that I worked on is finished, you see my name in the credits.
Yeah.
It's a feel good thing, and I usually just take a snapshot of, you know, always,
Like you said,
and
you worked on some amazing projects.
yeah,
sure. I
Yeah,
know it's always a satisfying thing.
it's a satisfying thing because you know the hard work, the sweat and tears, the revisions. So I'll just tell my younger self, just keep at it, keep going. Um, you're on a good path. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And if nothing else, that's some good advice to listen to.
Mm.
Run your own race.
Yeah.
Everybody's at different levels, and
Exactly. Yeah.
don't go into it. And the thing that I really try and look at is not to look at it from an envious point of view, but
Hmm.
an inspirational point of view, because you
Yeah.
can really, I know a lot of people could go online and see
Hmm.
some amazing work that is like,
Hmm.
okay, my work is just never going to get to that level, but it
Hmm.
will if you use
Yeah.
that as inspiration to inspire you that
Yeah.
if I keep at it and keep working at it, my
Hmm.
skill level can be that
For
well
real. For
too.
real. Yeah, and you could create your own look. For example, with this children's book project, I've been able to create my own little style
Yeah,
in my own little way, and that's how I plan to create um, my content with that style.
yeah,
If you look at that, like for example, if you look at Charlie Brown, for example, if you go anywhere and look, you'll see, you're like, oh, that's Charlie Brown's style. Let's just
yeah.
start,
That's
or
Charlie.
you
That's
see
it.
Popeyes, for example, you're like, that's the Popeyes style.
Yeah,
So that I want to kind of want to do that with my personal
yeah,
artwork. Yeah.
yeah. And I think
Hmm.
every creator, that's their goal, to find their style. I mean, you draw inspiration from everywhere. I mean, you're
Hmm.
going to draw inspiration, but you use that to fuel your own particular style,
Hmm.
so that when somebody looks at it, like you said, they can immediately say, "That's Wayne's.
Hmm.
That's Wayne Carnegie stuff. That's Wayne
Yeah.
Carnegie drawing," and it really resonates with people for sure. Uh, Let me throw up one more comment here. Mr. Sean C. Appreciate you, Mr. Sean, tuning in.
Hey,
Uh,
Sean.
Sitting here chopping it up with my friend, Mr. Wayne. This guy I gotta throw up, Mr. Enrique. Super talented. You need to check out his interview. We had a fun
All
time
right.
talking. Mr. Emmy winner here.
Hmm.
Done,
Hey.
yeah, does some awesome work. Definitely gonna hit you back up, Mr. Enrique. And I thank you. Want to thank you for all the referrals of guests that you sent my way. Looking for more for sure. Uh, and I will hit you up. But I appreciate everybody tuning into the show as always. Again, Narita, if you want your students to really start to immerse themselves,
Hmm.
again, make sure that you follow and connect with Wayne.
Hmm.
Also, but also, please make sure that you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, check out all the past episodes.
Yeah.
Enrique was an awesome guest,
Yeah.
Emmy Award winning
Hmm.
3D artist with Bond.
Hmm.
So many guests that I've had on and had the privilege and honor of now being able to call friend,
Yeah.
but they also do such amazing work. And if you want to keep your students and the kids inspired to see people that look like them and that share their experiences and see characters and really share their story of their journey. There's been some amazing journey. Another guy, he's at Pixar now, but when I interviewed him, Andre Rodriguez, he was working for Blue Sky uh,
Hmm.
before they went under in New York, but now he's
Hmm.
at Pixar. He learned and got interested in animation in prison. So his
Yeah.
journey,
That's
everybody
a
has
huge
their
journey.
own journey and their own story, but
Hmm.
it's all such inspiring things for sure.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, Mr. Wayne, I so thank you and so appreciate you. One, for connecting with me.
Yep.
Two, for being my friend.
Yep.
And three, for being on the show and sharing your wisdom and your story.
Thanks for having me. It's been a privilege, and I'm very excited to be a part of the show, and talking to you and everything and your audience. And I hope I inspire somebody out there. It's a good look. So let's continue doing your thing with your amazing guest. This is a good thing. So all right, it's a
I
good thing.
appreciate you.
Thank
Appreciate.
you.
Please hang around. If you could hang around a little when I throw you backstage and close out the show, I do want to talk with you. Just you know, and thank you again
Hmm.
for a minute. So I would appreciate it if you could hang out for just a few minutes.
Hmm.
But please, everybody, make sure that, like I said, you check out his demo reel. And again, all this information will be on the show notes on YouTube. So you'll be able to go to my YouTube channel, check out his episode, and click on all the links and connect with him. But here is, you can check out his demo reel here. You can check out his IMDb profile here. Connect with him also on LinkedIn, which is where we connected on LinkedIn. So
Yep.
another good place where he is very active in. Instagram as well. And again, like I said, I will be putting all of these links and everything in the show notes where you can connect with him. uh, Checked out all the other episodes and amazing and inspirational stories. I always appreciate that, Mr. Enrique, and definitely looking forward to having you back on the show for sure. Great advice, Mr. Williams. I know all the stuff that Wayne's talked about
Hmm.
has been really good, and so encouraged that he's giving back and really helping to reach back and pull the younger generation and expose them to what can be done and what's possible. So again, Wayne, I so appreciate that. Again, if you can hang out a little bit backstage while I close out the show,
Hmm.
so I can
Yep.
talk to you again. Everybody, uh, give my great friend and guest, Mr. Wayne, a big round of applause and look for him to be back on the show soon. Hold on here. We're going into the. All right, Mr. Wayne. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Hang out for me. Guys, it's been well, delayed reaction there. It's been this has been a fun episode. Like you said, me and Wayne have been waiting a while to jump on the call and really talk. And I appreciate everybody that tunes in, checks out the replay, and really supports the show. Like I said, my goal originally why I created this show was to really inspire and show kids of color and diverse backgrounds that there are people like them that share their experiences that are out there doing the same thing that they're wanting to do, and it's possible to do it. So, like I said, I know how powerful an image that is. So definitely make sure that you connect with my man Wayne. I definitely want you to make sure that you jump over to my YouTube channel, subscribe, check out some of the past episodes because, like I said, there have been some. I'm partial. All the episodes have been great episodes. All the guests have been great guests. And like I said, like I like to tell them, they're not guests; they're my friends on. So all my friends have had great shows for sure. But make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so that you are notified when we do go live and when I put up new content, because I do plan on making not only better shows with my new system and the new changes that we're making with the color of motion, but I plan on putting up great content uh, on the channel for sure. Next week is going to be is another show that I've been looking forward to for sure. Having this person on, and she's got such a great spirit, such a great sense of humor. We had a great time connecting, and looking forward to having her on, Miss Alicia Estrada. And as you can tell, she is really big on her Latina heritage. I like that. Character designer with Scholar. So, really excited about having her on the show next week for sure. So, make sure that you tune in, and you don't want to miss that one. So it's been a great show. As always, I will be here next Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure that you check us out. And as I always like to say, the color of motion, stories come in all shades, as you can see. So I appreciate everybody that as always, supports the show and really backs the show. Like I said, my aim is to make this the biggest and best show that highlights diversity in people of color that I can possibly make it, and I can't do it without you. So, with that being said, have a great rest of the day. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'm sorry, it's a little corny, but I'll go out with that. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Let me take this off. Okay. And I will see you next week.